Welcome back to this episode of the podcast. My name is Tariq. This is my uncle.
Hello.
And our host,
Well,
Brian Blair himself.
Who said you get the intro rights?
First of all,
Why
you couldn't
not?
figure it out.
Welcome back to the Mind Composition. My name is Brian, and yes, I'm here with Tarek and Mayank again. You tried to steal my intro. It didn't work this time, did it? Huh? No.
Little
You do it. You do it better. You
Do
do
I?
it better.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. At least I hope I
You
do
need
it
some
better.
music. Welcome to the mind composition.
Welcome to the Mind Comp. Mayank, you brought a really good idea up actually, not a few minutes ago, about walking the line. I want to know a little bit more, like what you mean about walking the line.
So, I had brought up the idea of actually
Walking the fine line. I'm sorry.
Well, it was finding the fine line. I'm not gonna
Finding the fine
be a
line.
grammar Nazi right now.
Running the fine line.
Running the fine. Okay, you're
Yeah.
saying, "Bull." That's a nice one, running the fine line. But no, my theory was it kind of comes. It's inspired by racing. So in racing, we have a thing called the racing line, and it's not necessarily the shortest line around the track. It is the line in which the driver can hold the most speed, and in that, there's different trajectories to corners that can come up with different, what do we call it? Paths of, hitting the corner. I'm forgetting the word right now, unfortunately. But basically, there's different ways of hitting a corner, and the end result of it is going to be different as well, right? The way the car is going to land, the way the car is going to stick. And it's something that I implement to life where, if an opportunity, an obstacle, or something, that's significant to life as it is, life as a whole, if that comes up, what is the way that you are gonna, attack it? What's your plan of attack? Are you gonna, approach it in a nice manner, aggressive manner,
Are
calm
you gonna
manner?
slow down, speed up?
Are you gonna slow down, speed
Yeah.
up? I mean, there's different terms. I can't really think of the terms right now. Unfortunately, this is horrible. But
I feel like
you
this
know,
is therapy for you.
in a way, yeah. In a way,
Like the way you're just sitting right now, you're just like.
I'm so comfortable right
I
now.
know.
I love this couch.
Relax.
But yeah, I mean,
Take a deep breath. Tell me
Whether-
about your feelings.
It's
So
like
let's start with your
really-
childhood.
really
Oh,
depressed.
God,
just getting
no.
locked in a closet. No, but I mean, when it comes to finding a fine line, in my case, it's finding a job and finding, a college career path that I can mix together, and that's finding my fine line. For Tarek, it's his career path in his school. For you, it's how you go about your photography. What's going to be your next step? What's going to be your next move? What do you have that you're going to repeat and improve on? What is going to be the path that you take, and how are you going to refine it? What is going to be your fine line? And that's kind of the theory of finding the fine line. And in racing, when you're going out for practice, you're looking for the fine line. You're looking for the racing line.
The optimum racing line.
The optimum racing line. I mean, granted, you're on a circuit there, and this is life. It's not repeating things, but it's a theory
It
that
changes.
you can kind of take and kind of incorporate into your life. And so far, it's helped me out.
It's like you're racing on a track, but let's say the conditions change. Le Mans, for example, 24-hour race, night, day, rain probably. Conditions
Rain,
change.
heat,
How are you going to
cold.
adapt to some of these obstacles that are going to, be thrown your way? Some of them unexpected too. So.
And it could be, it could be your environment, as you were saying, rain, cold, heat. It could be personal issues, It could be a tire puncture, you could break your foot, you
Yeah.
can go through a breakup, an engine failure, right?
Complete catastrophic failure.
We were debating before, right? Because I was thinking that rather than there being one necessarily fine line that's the best option to take, I think there are an infinite amount of decisions that we make in a day and just throughout our lives. So there are so many different ways that life could go, and every single one of those is perfect.
But so I completely agree with that. I'm not going to completely disagree. Opinions here are all valid. But and my thing is, even when that event comes up, right? Like say for example, you have a client come up, right? Okay, how am I going to approach this vehicle, right? That's your fine line. You can either start with the left, you can start with the right, you can start with the top, you can start with the front, you can start with the back. But it's whatever you choose and whatever works for you. That's going to be your.
So it's
fine
kind of like
line.
finding your groove in life.
Like
Yeah.
finding
So,
the best
Finding
way
what
to
works out best for
So,
you.
You
Like,
said it.
what I'm hearing from you guys is, I mean, let's think about one task, right?
yeah.
My job is to detail cars. Let's say I'm detailing a car, right? It's not just about if I start on this side or that side. there are so many decisions that play into every little thing that I do, right? How do I do the wheels? How do I do this? How do I do that? Which way? Which one first? All of these different things, right? So it's not necessarily one path that would be the best way. There are so many that I could take,
Yeah.
but they're all going to work out eventually. The
Yeah.
job is going to be done.
The race is going to be raced.
The race
See,
is going to
like-
be raced.
Now, when it comes to finding the fine line, you think of a very singular topic, right? You used to think of a very singular path. So, a great example was 2 weeks ago. There's a race in, I believe, or no, a week ago. There's a race in Netherlands. It's a track, the Formula One cars, which is not what I watch. They've never been to. So a lot of the racers, believe it or not, were trying out different lines, different approaches before race day, right? So I mean, when the race line comes, what are you doing before you hit a corner? You got your throttle, you got your brake, letting
Yeah.
go of the brake, weight transfer, all this. There's a lot of different variables. So I mean, it is one singular path.
I think
But there
what
are
it
more
is, I
variables.
think what it is the analogy doesn't really work out, because the analogy of racing is that, you're competing with other people, and that you are doing the same thing over and over again in the track. You got to hit the
Well-
corner.
Well, okay,
Things
we'll
change.
racing
things
take
change,
the perfect lap.
right? Things change, right?
A
But at
perfect
the
lap
end
is
of,
a whole different
at
thing.
the
though.
end
That's
of the
like,
day, you're going around the same track. But in life, you never go around the same track.
no, but that's what I was saying, right? Life isn't a
It's
track.
something
it's
new
an
every
endless
single
course. It's
time.
kind of like when you're going on a road trip, right? If
And
don't
you
even
know
wanna
the
go
shape.
that,
You know the shape of the corner and everything.
Well,
But in
actually,
life, we don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
that
But what if it's a new track?
opens up an entire
It's blind to me.
Yeah, so it opens up actually an entire new topic. So let's take this for example. Let's put, the what could happen as far as like, if you die tomorrow. Let's take that like out of the equation, and let's say you saying you're doing the same thing every day. What do 90% of people do every single day? Wake up, shower, eat breakfast, go to work, come home, eat dinner, talk to their wife, go to sleep. Wake up, shower, eat breakfast, go to work, come home, eat dinner, talk to their wife, go to sleep. That's a lap. That's a lap where
That's a daily
but then
routine.
that's when you take all of like if they get hit by a semi truck or something bad happens to them, or they get let go from
Yeah.
work or fired or whatever. So you take all of that out of the equation, and it's just now down to like your life, and now that's a routine. Okay,
Like,
this
you're
is more of
talking
like
about what you can control.
what you can control.
And also
Exactly.
The only place where I differ is I'm taking into account everything that you can't control.
Yeah.
Because so much happens throughout the day that we can't control.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, how do we react to it?
Yeah.
We're gonna get yelled at in the street by some honking Karen, right?
Yeah.
How are we gonna respond to that? That is life.
Yeah.
Differentiating what's the good decision, what's the bad decision. There is no right or wrong. There's so many ways it could play out. Some good, some bad.
Yeah.
I believe it's also like it's mainly what you apply it to, right? I mean, in his case, he was the daily
Yeah.
routine, right?
Yeah.
And in this case, you could switch
I'm
every
applying
time.
this to like, what are you doing in your life that's working for you? What's your fine line of life? Because you have that line where you cross over that line and you could be catastrophe, or you could cross over the line and you could be slowed down and have to, take a detour, if that makes sense. Or
You
like,
can have traffic, you can have
Yeah.
failure, you can have debris on the road.
yeah,
That's the one thing. They say it's the racing line, and you don't even have to be racing. The racing line is just for speed. It's the one that works for you, whether it's when you're racing, whether it's in practice, whether it's when solo. It's whatever you do. Even when we're going on normal road, right? Sometimes I'll catch myself driving like it's a track. I'll be hitting the corners and doing this and that. But
yeah,
it just depends on where you apply it to. In a daily routine, you can
Mhm.
switch up dinner to 5 to 6. You can have
Yeah.
And
it's
You
like
know
it's
what-
like
you know
do
what's
do
the
you
best
want to
part?
do you want to go down life? Basically, what I'm saying is like, do you want to go down life doing the same thing over and over? You expect it's coming like this, or in your case, do you want to go down life not knowing what the heck's gonna happen? Like, Does that make sense?
I never
you never
want
want to do the same
So
thing
you
every
want to be
day.
on a new track every day.
I want to.
You want to be on a new track every lap.
That's what life is at the end of the day, is because it's not just about what we do in the day.
Life is the
It's
nerve-wracking.
about the decisions that we make, what we can control.
Yeah, right.
It's not a decision necessarily to go to work in the morning. We do that every day. That's just what we do. But it's the little decisions that happen in between, how you interact with people, how you talk to yourself throughout the day. You know? And
Well,
that's what changes who you
That's
are.
the human element, though. That's a little different, right? Like
Yeah.
interaction with people. That's one thing. You never know who you're gonna meet. There's one point in my life where I didn't know you. There's one point in my life where I didn't know Brian, right? And there's a lot of the human element is a beautiful thing of its own, but like
And the best part
I
about this
lost what I was
topic
gonna
is
say.
that the best part about this topic is that there is no right answers to
There,
any of
yeah,
what
there
we're
is no
talking
there
about.
is no resolution. It's
And
just purely like
That's finding your
that's
own
the beauty
line.
of it.
exactly. That
Which
I mean,
is-
I guess you
Not
could say one
necessarily,
only
yeah.
thing about it is literally just everyone's life is on their own. They're in their own vehicle. They're in their own routine, their own line,
You
their
got your
own.
own setup. You got
Yeah.
your own track.
Yeah.
You got your own conditions. You got your
And
own
Yeah.
and not
session.
just that, like people can have different philosophies on life.
Oh yeah,
People
100%.
people
Front-wheel
can think
drive,
about
rear-wheel
life
drive.
entirely different.
I'm telling you, I have an analogy for all of
Everybody's different view take on this is not wrong, but there is no one right fine line. There is no and there is no wrong fine line either. It's just whatever works best for your vehicle, yourself, your conditions, your life decisions, life path, and all that. Whatever works best for you is the best fine line for you. And that
Yeah.
I guess that I mean that's not really a right answer, but I guess that is the
And
only
life's
answer.
journey is basically just
You
finding
just
it.
agreed with me.
Well, no, that's the
Yes,
thing. But that's
you
what I'm
did.
saying.
You said exactly
You got
what
to
I
find
was
your own
thinking.
line, though. Is what I'm saying.
Because
Like,
I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
no,
That's
no,
the
no.
thing.
You got to find
He's
your
the
own
bridge
line.
between
Yeah.
both worlds.
I bridged your philosophy to mine. Finding your own line with your own decisions and your own this. You don't. Maybe someone doesn't want to do the same thing over and over again every day. Maybe some people do. Fine, that's their line. But there is no one fine line. So maybe you,
It's whatever
Mayank.
you do. It's
Yeah.
whatever the fuck you're doing is your line, right?
Yeah,
It
maybe
doesn't have to be on a track. I'm just saying it's inspired from the track. That's what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say. I'm not saying like you have to go, you have to hit that same corner every time. And you can slow down, you can hit it backwards, you can do whatever the hell you want.
You spice
can
it up
flip
a
the
little
track.
bit. Say that the tracks every
Do
time
whatever you want.
the corners sharpen or they widen 30 degrees every time. You ever seen the movie called Maze Runner?
Yes,
I
I did.
think so.
Good
Exactly.
movie.
One of my favorite movies. That's probably where my philosophy is coming from. Every night the maze changes. Every night the maze
Every
changes.
single
So they
night,
can't repeat
yes.
the same exact thing. They have to adapt to how these changes are going to happen. And they don't know what it is. They got to be prepared for something unexpected coming in. A freaking
And that's exactly
a
what I was
griever, a
saying.
griever coming through. That's what I'm saying. But
You're the
you
man.
got to find
No,
the
but even in that, dude, when the path is changing, they're still finding the
you
best
still have to
path.
find
They're
your
still
fine line to
finding
drive
the
it.
fine line.
And one day the fine line could be this. The next day the fine line is
Could be
something
different.
else.
One think back
I'm
to a
saying
day.
it-
Think back to a
it
day when you were
changes every
super
single
happy.
The
day.
variables
Okay.
are different. That's the thing. When the variables change, right? Like that. I'm sorry.
Think back to a day when you were super happy, both of you,
Whoops.
all right? And I will too. Just so we're all family here. We're all thinking and happy. We're in therapy, all right? We're in Mayonk's garage. Think back to a day when you were super happy, okay? Now think back to a day when you were super sad. But think of a situation that comes down your way. Same exact situation. What decisions are you going to make when you're happy versus what decisions are you going to make when you're sad? Are they going to differ?
Entirely different.
Right.
Entirely
Exactly.
different. You know
But-
why? It's because you have more hope when you're happy.
You
You have
do.
more hope for whatever could happen.
Your
So you
emotional
just-
setup is different.
You just go. You just dive head first when you're happy.
Yeah.
But when you're sad, you question everything.
Yeah. You go in your head
When
again.
you
You
have-
think a lot.
When you're in that darker place, you second guess everything that
Yeah,
comes into
100%.
your head.
100%.
You know.
Yeah, so like with that instance, for example, like, how are you gonna, like, if you approach it differently, right? You're still finding the best solution for each. It's not like you're deliberately trying to make a decision that's gonna hurt yourself or somebody else in a situation when you're sad versus when you're happy. You're still trying to find in your state of mind when the conditions change your best approach to
I just
the
had
same
a thought,
situation.
right?
What's the thought?
With the maze runner analogy. I mean, yes, it's a maze, and there's one exit. But
Actually,
I
there's 8, but yeah.
There's 8. There's a limited amount of exits,
Yeah.
right? There are wrong turns in the Maze Runner, but I think in life there is no wrong turns.
There are dead ends in the Maze Runner. You can still turn
Yeah.
around and walk out.
Exactly.
So
But in life, even if you make the wrong decision, that's not a dead end.
yeah.
And you can't go back and retrace your steps.
This is where
So
my
what do you
favorite
do in
line
that
from
situation?
Batman comes in. You guys watched the Dark Knight trilogy, right?
Yeah.
When I think it was the third one, Batman, the Dark Knight Rises, when he has like the knee braces and stuff, and he's like completely walked away, like gone away from society. And Alfred just comes up to him and just says, "What do we do when we fall down?
We get
We
back
get
up.
back up.
We get
Or
back up.
We learn how to get back up."
Right.
And it's just like, when
So-
you reach a dead end, you got to figure out, it's like, what do I do to not do that again? So that path, that line, gone. Okay,
Mhm.
on to the next.
But who's saying that you're not going to hit another dead end? What are you going to do differently? But here's the thing, it's also that actually, if you want to get really technical about it, how do you know if you're going to hit a dead end when you won't know if you're going to hit a dead end unless you make the turn?
That's the journey of life.
Some people don't even make that turn. Some people don't even know if it's a dead end or if it's the exit. They're
Some
like,
people
oh,
just
it
don't even read
looks
the
like
sign.
something. This looks
From-
like a dead end. I'm gonna miss it, but that could be the exit. That could be the win, if that makes sense, right? But they
Yeah.
completely miss it. So
Because I mean, we're in our early 20s,
Yeah.
right? We only know so much about life.
we haven't even
We
begun.
have so much to learn.
We haven't even begun.
And one person I always go back to is Mike Tyson, right?
Yeah.
Because Mike Tyson, he talks a lot about the kind of person that he was before boxing.
Yeah.
And the kind of person he was not the type to make the right decision.
didn't
He
like
never
Big
made
Donuts.
he never made any right decision. But somehow he became who he is now.
Yeah.
And because he didn't necessarily make wrong decisions, he took his decisions.
Yeah.
There is no right and wrong, it's yours.
It's yours.
found
It's your
his fine
path.
line.
It's your fine line. Yeah. I mean, like this is like a open-ended like thread on every
Yeah.
single aspect with this topic. But I think like, I mean, there is no answer. There is no real resolution. This episode isn't going to be like, oh, you have to do this to now get through your life struggles. No, this is more just like, hey, how are you looking at some situations that you're making?
This is for you to think about.
This
is
is
for
like,
the audience
you guys are
to
going to be
think
thinking.
about.
I'm expecting a thread of comments below this and a bunch of
I wanna
emails and
hear your
retweets on
philosophy.
this.
Like, subscribe, comment, follow.
Thanks for the
DM,
free marketing, Mayank.
Send me
Yes.
8-ball games, whole 9 yards.
Yeah, thanks for the free marketing. I appreciate it. But I mean, like seriously though, like
Cheap
this
plug.
is gonna get people
I
thinking.
know the vibes.
They're gonna relate back to some of the things that they're doing. How are they gonna adjust? How are they gonna make the best decisions
Yeah.
possible? Does that make sense?
And the thing is, it's not even. The other thing is, it's not even looking at the future, right? When you're trying to find the fine line, you think of what you've done in the past, right? When you get to that same. Granted, all the opportunities in life aren't the same, but a lot of them are very similar. You meet very similar people. You are in very similar situations. But when you are in that situation, you can recall what you've done previously, right?
Yeah.
You can be like, hey, I've been here before with a different set of people with the same set of vibes.
History
hey,
repeats
I've
itself.
been at this corner, in the middle of the turn. Maybe this time I should, get away from these people.
You know
Maybe
what
I
it
should get
is?
away from this part of the
It's
track.
the racing analogies that are throwing me off. So just talk
Talk
Okay,
about
I'll
human.
talk normal.
talk about life.
So basically, what I'm trying to say is like when you are in a situation and you are in that situation again, you are able to, well, at least as a conscious human being, when you're aware and stuff like that, you're able to recall.
I think what you're trying to say is history has a tendency of repeating itself.
History has a tendency
So-
of repeating itself. It's a historical memory of those events that kind of help you, guide yourself through.
History repeating itself, that applies to like historic events and
No, I mean like
The
certain
things that happen.
situations. Like
but
I mean, it
in
means
your
like,
in your own life, if you are repeating the same mistakes, the same bullshit, you're not. I mean,
Well, maybe not
that's
so much-
how
maybe not
somebody
so much
thinks.
you
out of your
repeating it,
control, right?
Because you're not reacting to the same bullshit.
Maybe- yeah, maybe-
you can't react the same because you're not reacting to the same thing.
No, but for example,
That
right? Like,
turn
this
is going to be a different angle every single day.
No, of course, but like when it comes to things like, for example, a breakup, right? When you go through your first breakup, you're devastated. Then your second breakup comes around, okay, it's not as bad. Third breakup comes around, okay, I'm doing a little bit better, right? But you look back to where you were compared to where you are, and if you can see a difference, if you can say, hey, I didn't do the same mistake, you found a better path to go on. Whether it be just being more emotionally
The
stable.
thing is with a relationship is that when you're in a new one, that's the reset button for you in a relationship. So
Well,
you get to learn from previous mistakes,
course.
right?
yeah.
But there's no reset button in life. If you make a wrong decision, you suffer the consequences,
It packs
and
on
you're
as
now in a
experience.
new position.
You crash.
And that road ahead of you is not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same as if you made the right decision.
There'll be potholes.
So it could be like you're just adapting to new things because like life's not
Exactly.
going to get easier, and I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, why won't life get easier? Why won't you get stronger? Like
Exactly.
a lot of people are like, oh, I wish life would just get so much easier. This is too hard. Stop wishing for life to be easier.
Sometimes
Start
it's
wishing
not
for
going to
you
get
to be
you. Who the
stronger.
fuck
But
is-
sometimes,
who's gonna
strength-
call you and be like, yo, I really like what you had to say. We're gonna flip the switch and make life easier.
Strength
It
is
doesn't
one
work
thing,
like
though,
that.
right?
No, not
Strength
at
is
all.
one thing. Some people, some people do have, some people are unable to actually get that strength. Now, instead of, getting that emotional strength and like getting that courage to do what you need to do, they can simply just go about what they're doing or go about their day a little bit differently to avoid those situations per se, right? Like,
Yeah.
If you are unable to do a certain task, just find a way around it.
Find another approach.
Why keep trying to do the impossible? Because you keep trying to do the impossible and you keep on getting, the same negative result and you keep on expecting something positive.
I feel like if you're doing the same thing over again, expecting a different result,
that's insanity.
That's insanity.
That's,
so I
that's
feel like
the
if you're in a
definition of
position
insanity.
in life where you're doing the same thing, if you're constantly in a same situation over and over again, could be in your control or not, you're doing something that's literally driving you insane. So when I say recall back onto something that is like, a similar situation that might have happened to you before, it repeats itself. History does repeat itself. Like it like not so much the events, but the philosophies of history do. That's just human nature. It's just how we
It
are.
may not hit you at the moment, but like
it doesn't work. It's not
same,
nothing will ever be the same.
Yeah.
But it'll be the similar or almost identical same procedures. Not procedure. I'm sorry. Approach, philosophy sometimes. Okay,
same
but
scenario,
it'll be
same
different.
vibes.
Yeah.
Different scenario. Similar
scenario.
Maybe similar scenario. I can't say that word. Scenario. Different approach. Different philosophy. Wait, did I get that right? I think I just contradicted myself.
I don't even know.
What I'm saying basically, okay, is what you ever gone through in your life before has a tendency to not exactly repeat itself, but the same types of situations may show up again. What have you learned from that situation that you're going to apply to this one? In a relationship, right? Prime example, your first, second, third relationship may have failed because maybe you didn't pay enough attention to them. In the fourth relationship, pay attention to them and maybe it won't fail. That kind of thing. Like, what have you learned over time that's going to allow you to take a different approach?
Expect the person to love you this time, or the person leaves and you're like, oh, what happened this time? I did the same thing.
I wonder why.
Right? Or like for me right now is like a thing that's going on with me is like my job, right? And especially when you're getting hired for a job, they always tell you a lot of ifs, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, if you do this, you'll get that. If you do this, you'll get that. But like they usually tend not to happen. But when you're at that interview, like today I was at a shop. Today I had someone in an interview and the guy was giving me a lot of ifs, a lot of this will happen, a lot of that will happen. And I'm like, dude, I've heard this same exact script 4 times before.
Yeah.
First 2 times I was probably gullible enough. Third time I was kind of iffy. Fourth time I didn't even believe him. This time it's coming in one ear, out the other.
Yeah, it's kind of just like, okay, what is this?
Right?
Again?
Like
same
I took my experiences and I kind of just use them now.
Yeah.
Right? And that kind of helped me find my path. Right? I could have been on the same path. I could have been like, oh my God. He means it. He means all of it.
I see what you guys mean, and I wouldn't say I agree with you, but I understand. I like to listen, and I like to.
That's why we're having this. That's why we're having.
I like to think about how other people think about life.
Yeah, it's no fun when someone says the
same.
It's no fun when somebody says the same exact thing, and now we're just like, oh yeah, we agree, great. What now? What? No, because this is now having a healthy conversation.
This is the beauty of the debate. Is
exactly
so many
it's like
different
they make one of those movies where they have like a whole plot, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, if the character just did this in the starting of the movie, the rest of the movie, didn't really need to happen. It's like,
yeah. I mean, but one thing that we can agree on, all of us, is that we each have our own line in life, or our own, I guess you want to say, philosophy, our own approaches.
We all have our own setup. We have our own tracks.
That's one thing that we can say, that is that we all have our own track, our own path, our own line, our own vehicle, our own approaches, right? What differences for us is really just like, how do we get into that? Like how you look at certain aspects in life, how you look at it. I mean, Mayank, you look at things drastically different than I do, and you do as well. So it's like, but that's not a reason to, fight and disagree with somebody, or not disagree. That's not a reason to because I see so many people disagree on topics, but they don't just disagree. They hate the person because they don't think like them.
They don't talk it out.
They don't talk it out. They don't have any real resolution to it. They just
know what that is? It's a lack of understanding.
Yeah, they're not open-minded to hearing, what really is, out there.
Being an American.
Yeah, exactly. But what
choosing a philosophy and sticking by it. America. That's America.
That's taking Watch South Park, people. Best show ever.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Free plug.
I think we can safely say that we understand where we can understand where each of us are coming from, but we can all agree on one thing: is we each have our own, respectable courses in life. Really,
you gotta figure out. It's the path of life.
You gotta figure it out. I mean, that's for you and your journey to figure out. That's not for me to figure it out
of
for you. That's for you and you alone. So, I mean,
That's for me to know and for you to find out.
I think
There we
I
go.
think on that note, it's good to like probably cap this episode at that, because this could reach down 10 different threads of conversations.
We could keep going for hours.
I mean,
I
definitely, we
could.
definitely keep going for
On
hours.
that
But
bombshell,
what
ladies
what,
and
what we'll
gentlemen.
do is we'll do separate
Wow, we're
episodes in the
keeping going.
future on each
Yeah.
thread, which I think will be very
We'll see
beneficial.
what
And I'm pretty sure
kinda-
everyone's
we'll see
gonna
what
love to
kinda
hear
thoughts
this.
other people have. That would
Brian
be
I'm super
Blair and the
curious.
10 threads. Like, you know how there's that movie right now, Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings?
Oh my god.
Brian Blair and the 10 threads of life.
share with me
Yeah.
your life stories. and your
Like
philosophies.
let's hear everybody's life
Let's
story.
see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I love hearing about people's lives. I really do, because I just like to see like what goes on up here. Like
We were talking about this earlier too in a little pre-podcast thing that we made. A lot of people just aren't talking anymore. So just talk.
just
man.
talk. Like
fucking
say what's
talk.
up. Say what's up.
You don't have to
And
look at someone and
we'll
be like,
respond.
"Ugh, he's brown with a beard. Don't talk to him."
And when you're
We'll
talking to
respond. I'm not gonna
somebody,
bite.
don't-
I'm
yeah.
not gonna bite. Mayank and
If
Tarek
anything,
are not
I
gonna bite.
block you. But that's once.
You know
in
what
a blue
hurts the
moon.
heart? I get left undelivered. Or left on red. That's even more heartbreaking, bro.
Seen
Like,
4 days ago.
we're not going down that one. That one's a topic for another day.
For
But
left on
another
red?
day.
left on red, left undelivered. I could talk about that till I die.
You know, honestly, Apple has the option where it says, you can turn it off.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like the people who keep it on,
Or assholes.
they're
They know what they're doing.
menaces to
They know what they're
society.
doing. They know what they're doing.
Menaces to society.
Right. We'll go down that topic another day, but on that note, I'm going to wrap up this episode of the Mind Comp. Thank you guys again for tuning in. The support is really appreciated. Remember, you can catch these episodes on iTunes and Spotify, and the video versions on YouTube and IGTV. So I will catch you guys on the next episode.
Next time on Brian Blair and the 10 Threads of Life. Next time
We're done.
on
We're done.
Dragon
We're
Ball
done.
Z.
We're done.
Goku fights Brian.